Money. It affects our everyday life. But how do we make more of it? Manage it. And make sure we make the most of our money. Welcome to Money Mindful, a podcast to teach and support you as you learn to manage your money.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of the Money Mindful podcast. I am your host, Megan Jean Smith. I am a life coach. I help women create the extraordinary life they want to live on purpose. Welcome to the show. Happy October. So great to be here with you today. If this is your first time listening to the show, if you've just discovered the show, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you're a long-time listener, you are in for a treat this month. This is episode 49. Whoa, how did we get here? We're almost at 52 episodes, which marks 12 months of the podcast. So fun. It's amazing that I've got to this stage, 12 months here with you. Almost. Okay, we're at 49. We're nearly there. Just a couple more episodes. Okay, so I have a stellar selection of episodes for you this month. But before we crack on, I would love to ask you if you are enjoying the show and are loving all the content I provide here on the podcast and in book club and in the free resources, one of which I have for you today. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. I would be so grateful if you could write a review. If you've already written a review, can I just say thank you so much? I really appreciate you doing that. When you write a review, it helps others find the show. Now, I really want other women, lots of women, to find this show because I want more women making more money and having the skills, the mindset skills to be able to do that. And the best way I know how to do that is coaching people and exposing them to what is possible through this podcast. I know it takes a small amount of time, but it does make a big impact. So if you're listening in iTunes on your phone, all you have to do is just scroll down to the bottom of the episode list. You could even do it right now. You can click on the 5 stars and you'll also see it says, on mine it's in purple. I don't know if it's the same across all devices, but it says write a review. So thank you very much if you, take the time and effort to do that. All right, let's get into it. So as I said, I help women create the extraordinary life they want to live on purpose. And one of the major components to living a life on purpose is the ability to manage your time. So this month on the podcast, I want to bring the focus to time. We're going to explore what time is, how to manage it, how to use time to create what you want in your life, how to stop procrastinating, how to get out of overwhelm, and how to get shit done. All right, we're not going to cover it all in this episode, but I will be covering these topics over the month. So earlier this year in book club, I made a brief reference to how I plan my time. I use a certain process that I have learned, and the general consensus from the group was that they wanted to learn more about that. So here we are. This month is all about time. In book club, we are reading Time Warrior by Steve Chandler. This is such an amazing book and great food for thought to get you approaching how you think about time and how you manage your time. If you're not in book club, what's happening, guys? Join in. It's such a fun night. I know lots of you, because you have told me, you listen afterwards because for whatever reason you can't join in at the time. It's always recorded and available for you on the Money Mindful website. You can find out all about book club by going to the website. There's a book club link, and you can also buy the book through my website. I've just made it all there, so it's really easy for you. And while I'm on the topic of books, there's actually a list of a lot of other books that I think are really fantastic that you can see on the website too if you're looking for some great reads about money or mindset. Okay, So next week, I have the amazing time coach, Lauren Cash, on to teach you the basics for a time management process called Monday Hour 1. Now, this is a process I use and I teach my clients as well. I actually learnt it from Lauren, and I absolutely love having guests on the show. So I thought it would be so fun to have her on to chat about it. This process is life-changing if you want to learn how to get shit done. The process itself, you can get so much out of it, but ultimately, I think if you have a coach and use the process at the same time, that is the ultimate time management. What's the word I'm looking for? Process. Because it's not just about what you do, like how you manage your time. It's about how you manage your mind, like all the other rubbish that goes on, all the procrastination, the overwhelm. It's all the thoughts that we have about time. So that's what this month is all about, exploring time, exploring our thoughts about time, and getting you on the right track to managing your mind so you can manage your time to the best of your ability to create the life that you want, right? All right, so the first step to anything I teach is awareness. So before I throw you in the deep end of time management this month, I want to set you up right. I want you to have awareness around what you think about time so you can understand why you get the results in your life that you do. I want to take the time to explore what time is with you. What are the common barriers or challenges we face with time? I've created a workbook for you as well that goes along with this episode. So if you're driving in the car, don't worry. Just later when you've got a moment, go to the website www.moneymindful.com.au/time. And you can get a copy of the workbook there. You'll also be able to get to it through a link in the show notes. Okay, so let's first start. First question is, what is time? Let's define time. In my opinion, in my thoughts, in my beliefs, time is a social construct, just like money. We as a collective people have decided the parameters of time. We have all agreed that there are 24 hours in a day, 365 days in a year. We use the Gregorian calendar. I think that's the, like English is the lingua franca of the world that we conduct business in and so forth. So is the Gregorian calendar. We all follow this calendar around the world. But that it's not the only calendar. I mean, we also have the lunar calendar. I think there's the Jewish calendar and there's a Chinese calendar. There's another calendar. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But if you Google time and calendars, there's not one way to do in quotation marks time. We used to use the Julian calendar, right? So it's just like money. We've made it up and we've agreed as a society. Okay, so time just is. Time is constant. We never have more time. We never have less time. We always have the same amount of time. We don't get more or less time than anyone else. Beyonce has the same amount of hours in the day as you and me. So I want you to think about time like you have $24,000. Every day you start the day with $24,000. How are you going to spend it? Because if you don't use it up, if you don't use every dollar of that $24,000, you don't get to save it up for later. It's gone, right? So in fact, I believe that time is our most valuable resource because we can't create more. Once it's gone, it's gone. So how do we want to spend or use our time? All right, the next question I have for you is, what are your thoughts about time? And I'm going to bet that you have thoughts like these. I don't have enough time. I have too much to do. I can't fit it all in. I have too much to handle. I never have enough time. Time just went so quickly. I get distracted so easily. I don't know where the time went. Right? Like, can you relate to these? Are these thoughts that you have about time? I certainly have thoughts like this. I'm actively working on not thinking those thoughts and thinking other thoughts. These are the thoughts that I like to think. I have all the time that I need. I create time. I decide how to spend my time. There is always enough time. I choose what to focus on with care and stick to it. When it comes down to it, we can't actually manage time. Time just is. Time doesn't need to be managed. Time is just going to keep being time, being there always, right? What we have to learn how to manage is our mind and what we think about time. So let's increase your awareness about your thoughts about time, okay? So the next question is, do you have enough time? Why or why not? Really pay attention to your answer here, because this is what you will be creating for yourself in your life. So when we tell ourselves we have too much to do or that we don't have enough time, often this generates feelings of overwhelm or pressure. These are not feelings that will drive us to actions that get shit done, okay? In general, when we feel overwhelmed, we ruminate on everything that we have to get done. We put work off by procrastinating, and we avoid doing all the things that we have to do because we're sitting in overwhelm. We don't want to feel overwhelmed, so we go and, check Facebook, or, oh, let's put those clothes away that I meant to put away, or I should probably clean the kitchen now because I didn't get around to that earlier. Like, guess what? We just confirm for ourselves that we still have so much to do and not enough time, right? So contemplate on that. And the next question is, and all these questions are in the workbook, remember? So don't worry, you can always access this again through the workbook. So what uses up your time? For me, it's definitely procrastinating, it's confusion, and it's not making decisions. How about you? What uses up your time? A common theme I see with my clients is we waste so much time in indecision. So when we don't make decisions and hang out in confusion, we don't move anywhere. We stay exactly where we are, right? And sometimes we're so afraid to make the wrong decision that we do nothing. Or we think we don't want to waste time by doing something that's not the right thing, but you're just wasting your time already by not doing anything. So making decisions moves us forward. So by committing and doing, we find out if it works or not, right? So for me, I think the biggest thing that eats up my time is just not actually making decisions and getting on with it. Okay, next question. What creates more time? And this relates to the question before. For me, it's just making decisions as it moves me forward in my life. Whenever I make a decision, I take action and I do something new, and that gets a new result for me, which moves me forward. And I feel like that creates more time for me. And managing my mind is what creates the most time, as when I'm focused and not busy thinking about everything I have to do, I actually make plans and I do what I want to do, and I get so much done, and I have so much more free time, because also my free time is not taken up with thinking about what I should have got done, right? And if this is starting to set off little sparks in your brain here, just stay tuned for next week, because we're going to teach you an amazing process that really helps with creating more time, so to speak, in quotation marks. So there's plenty of hacks here too. So I've spoken before about paying for services that open up time for you to do other things, right? Like getting your house cleaned. Like paying for someone to clean your house, that's 2 hours right there that you've just created that you're not doing. Or having an assistant in your business. Like where can you create more time in your life by accessing other resources? And when I say create more time, I say that in quotation marks in the sense that we don't have more time, but you create more time that's available to you by outsourcing things that you could do yourself, but you actually get other people to do. So you can use that time for something else. And I think it was Robert Kiyosaki, but I'm not 100% sure. So sorry if I'm putting this to somebody else who said it, but I think he said something like, rich people create more time with money and poor people use time to create money. So I'll just say that again because I think this is like a really amazing point. Rich people create more time with money and poor people use time to create time. Use time to create money. Because you can't create more time. So if you get paid a certain amount of money per hour, you're capped at how much money you can make, right? Because there's only 24 hours in a day. But when you make money by creating value and don't attach it to time, you're only limited to how much money you can make by how much value you create. If you create more value, you create more time. Because value is created in our mind, not by time. And then we put value out in the world through initially using our time deliberately, right? Like right now, I'm putting value out into the world. I'm using my time right now. I'm sitting at home and I'm recording this podcast and I'm doing after this, I'll do all the post-production stuff. This is how I've scheduled it on my calendar to create this today for you. However, in a few hours, this will all be completed, but the podcast will continue to exist for years to come. So someone might be listening to this in 2021 or 2022. And if you are, hello. It's great to speak to you in the future right now. I'm back in 2020. But alas, okay, creating value for money is a topic for another podcast, and I'm not going to go down that path right now. Let's move on to the next question. So I'm going to leave you with an exercise you can do that will be so helpful for you in regards to managing your time. And remember, I've created a workbook for you so you can simply grab it later from the website, okay? This is the exercise. The first question is, how did you spend the last 24 hours? I want you to write down as much detail as possible. How many times did you check Facebook or Instagram? How many times did you check your email? What did you do first thing in the morning? How did you spend your evening? What did you do in the middle of the day? Try to be as detailed as possible with what you did yesterday. And if you want to get really gung-ho on this, you could do it for the whole week, but that's not necessary. You can just do it for one day, okay? Then on a separate piece of paper or in the workbook, I want you to write down your top 5 time priorities. Now, notice I said time priorities. So, for example, I love my family to pieces and they are one of my top priorities in my life, but they're not actually they are one of my time priorities because I have young children, but I don't want to spend 24 hours a day with them, right? So I want you to get really clear. It's not about the things that are most important to you. It's what is your priorities when it comes to time. What do you want to spend the most time doing? Okay, so get really clear on the top 5 things you want to spend your time doing. Now, once you have this list, compare it with your day yesterday. Does it match? Does how you spend your time yesterday align with your top 5 priorities? Game changer, right? Because if it does, happy days, good for you. Like you're creating the life that you want, right? Because you are spending your time in alignment with your top 5 time priorities, how you want to spend your time. But for many of us, right, it's not the case, because I'm going to hazard it as a guess that you haven't included watching Netflix or scrolling Facebook for 3 hours in your top 5 time priorities, right? And this is something I'm consciously working on at the moment, because I certainly don't have social media in my top 5 time priorities, and yet I seem to spend quite a bit of time on social media. Okay, I'm not a special unicorn. Like, this is something I'm still actively working on as well, learning how to manage my time and my mind to my best ability to create what I want in life. And one of those things that I do on default is check social media. And so that's my work that I'm doing now, decreasing that unconscious behavior, of just picking up my phone. And the first step to doing that is just to get really aware, like, how are you spending your time? And that's what that exercise is. It's like a time journal. Like, write out how you spend your time for 24 hours. And is it in alignment with what your top 5 time priorities are? Yeah. So do you need to make some changes? What do you need to work on? So this is a fantastic exercise and a great way to start up this month, to get you going, to really get you thinking about, how do you spend your time? How do you want to spend your time? Right? And then over the month, I'll be bringing you more information about how you can manage your time. And then also, of course, in book club, we're reading Time Warrior, which is all about time. Yes, we're the first week in October, but it's not too late to join book club. You have all the time you need. You can join in at any time. All right, that's all I have for you today, folks. Remember, you can access this workbook by a link in the episode show notes or on the website. Just go directly to moneymindful.com.au/time. If you are ready to start creating the extraordinary life you want to live on purpose and want some help to get you there faster in less time, the first step is to book a consult with me through the website. It's in the Work With Me tab. This is a 45-minute complimentary session for you to talk about what you want to create in your life, what you want to do, what your goals are. I ask you a lot of questions, and then I let you know if we'd be a good fit. Okay, so go ahead, book a session with me today, and until next time, have a beautiful week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Money Mindful podcast. For more info, visit moneymindful.com.au. For future episodes, be sure to subscribe. And remember, the information in this podcast is of a general nature only and does not take into account your personal circumstances or goals. Please seek professional advice for your own financial needs. Remember to have fun along the way.